all so much for coming out to our celebration of poetry, sponsored by Messiah College Center for Public Humanities and Harrisburg School District. We are very grateful that we have such a great crowd. Obviously, it's a bigger crowd than we had even thought, so we're really proud. I love the fact that there's a lot of poetry lovers around here. That's wonderful. Celebration of Poetry is the culminating event of a series of workshops that we did this semester. I'm Jean Corey, and I'm the director of the Center for Public Humanities. And at Messiah College, our goal is to partner with community organizations and individuals who are interested in bringing humanities-based programming to the city. And I can't think of better partners than we had this semester with the Poetry in Place project. We had great poets who are definitely public poets. They really have a passion for bringing poetry to people, getting people involved in writing poetry, and really celebrating the places where they live. And we were so grateful that we had our first poet to work with us was Nate Gadsden, who has a long, long legacy of working in the city and bringing poetry, and we felt so privileged that he did the inaugural workshop with us on the Susquehanna River, and it was very exciting. He had lots of stories to tell us about the history of Harrisburg, and he had lots of advice to give about writing and performing poetry, and we were very grateful for the Roland students who got to work with Nate Gadsden. The second workshop was, we had our visiting poet, Carla Christopher, who brought her colleague Dustin Nispel with her. And Carla is the former poet laureate of York and now the arts and culture liaison at York. So we really went for the poet laureates. Nate Gadsden is a former poet laureate of Harrisburg, and he's the director of the Writer's Workshop. I'm not very articulate, I'm sorry. We also had a third present poet laureate, and that was Rick Kearns, who worked with Harrisburg High students, juniors with Miss O'Leary's class. So we were very grateful to have Rick, who is the present poet laureate. And all of them were very present to us and present to the writing process, and really shared great days with us, each of them. But we are very excited because this is our first semester doing the Poetry in Place, and our goal with the Poetry in Place workshops is to connect young people and older people to the rich culture and historical and ecological roots of Harrisburg, which are many. And so that was really such a great pleasure to be able to really be on the river and think about the history of the river, think about the ecological systems of the river, and also to then write about the river and to think about the history of the Broad Street Market and the history of the Midtown Scholar and the place and the things that go on. So it was very exciting. We hope that this is going to continue for a while. Right now I'd like to introduce you to Tasha Dallin, who spent many hours coordinating this event because there's so many different partners. It's a complex thing to coordinate. So I'm very grateful for her work with the Center for Public Humanities this semester.
I'd just like to briefly say thank you to everyone. Thank you, first of all, for all of the parents and the family members who many of you were here very early, and for those of you who don't have seats, we really apologize again. Thank you so much for persevering with us and being flexible. Thank you to the students for coming and for all of your hard work. You're shining stars in your class, and we hope you keep writing. Thank you to the teachers for taking on this extra activity, even though your hands are overflowing already with so much to handle in a day's time. Thank you for coming and for sharing of your time. Thank you for all the others from your schools who have helped out. And thank you to the community members who are here, who have been involved with this work. Thank you to the Messiah students who have helped out a lot as well. You'll see in your programs there is an area of special thanks in the back, so if I've missed anyone, but I would like to call out the teachers who are here, in particular Miss Woodson from Roland, 5th grade teacher, thank you, and Miss Schrader as well from Roland. From Marshall Math Science Academy, we have Simone Heisey and Leanne Cox. And we also worked with Carol Mullen O'Leary from Harrisburg High School, who's not present with us today, and Carrie Washington, also from Roland, who's not present with us. But special thanks to them. Okay.
Before we begin, I have an exciting announcement to make. We have a very special person with us tonight who came. She actually has really grown to love Harrisburg in the past 3 days. But it's her first trip to Harrisburg, and she's learned a lot. But she's come from Puerto Rico to be with us tonight, and her name is Rosa Johnson, and she is a lover of poetry, a lover of the arts. She's an artist of great, diverse ability. But she's also the niece and archivist for Dr. Maya Angelou, who is probably the most influential voice of the 20th and 21st century, and I can't think of a person more committed to poetry and to the arts and to making sure that every voice could participate in that. So I'm so grateful to have Rosa Johnson here. I do want to tell you she's written a book called Maya Angelou, Gloria's Celebration. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. She's also, she's a hair sculptor. And she was Stevie Wonder's personal hair sculptor for 15 years and traveled with Stevie Wonder. So she's not going to check your hair out, though, I promise you. She's pretty generous about that. She's also, she creates beautiful jewelry, and she's in the middle right now of writing her own memoirs. And so she's been reflecting. I'm sure she'll tell you about her life as a high school student and a middle school student. And so she's been reliving those years recently. But we are so grateful that she's come to share this moment with us, because she's an artist and she's brilliant, but the one thing that she's really brilliant at is finding the genius and the brilliance of others. And I can't think of a better gift to have. So thank you so much. We're going to hear just a few words from Rosa, and then we're going to let the poets begin with their poetry. Yes.
Hello, good evening, buenas noches. I am honored to be here, and yes, this has been an exciting 4 days. And when Dr. Corey asked me to take part in this, it was no hesitation on my part. I bring my aunt's spirit with me wherever I am. And so this evening I will share some of her poetry with you. I'm going to do first something called The Human Family. Human family. I note the obvious differences in the human family. Some of us are serious, some thrive on comedy. Some declare their lives are lived as true profundity, and others claim they really live the real reality. The variety of our skin tones can confuse, bemuse, delight. Brown and pink and beige and purple tan and blue and white. I've sailed upon the seven seas and stopped in every land. I've seen the wonders of the world, not yet one common man. I know 10,000 women called Jane and Mary Jane. I've not seen any two who really were the same. Mirror twins are different, although their features jive, and lovers think quite different thoughts while lying side by side. We love and lose in China, we weep on England's moors, and laugh and moan in Guinea, and thrive on Spanish shores. We seek success in Finland, are born and die in Maine. In minor ways we different. In major, we're the same. I note the obvious differences between each sort and type, but we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. We are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. Yes, we really are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. Thank you. Health food? I'm going to read another poem by Dr. A. Oh, yes, we call her Dr. A, the big A. This one is comical in a way in that it's very personal to me because when Auntie wrote this piece, I was a serious vegan vegetarian, and she thought I was quite a little off, but I'm a Californian, so what can you say? No sprouted wheat and soya shoots and Brussels in a cake, carrot straw and spinach raw. Today, I need a steak. Not thick brown rice and rice pilau, or mushrooms creamed on toast, turnips mashed and parsnips hashed. I'm dreaming of a roast. Health food folks around the world are thinned by anxious zeal. They look for help in seafood kelp. I count on breaded veal. No smoking signs, raw mustard green, zucchini by the ton, uncooked kale and bodies frail are sure to make me run to loins of pork and chicken thighs and standing ribs so prime. Pork chops brown and fresh ground round, I crave them all the time. Irish stews and boiled corned beef and hot dogs by the score, or any place that saves the space for smoking carnivores. Health Food Diner. Thank you.
Good evening. Of course, it's always good to follow Maya Angelou, right? That was great, though. Thank you so much. I want to thank, Mrs. Corey and let me mess up names now here, and Tasha Dalen, for giving the city and this community this great opportunity to enjoy the wonderful art of poetry and to get our young people involved in it. I also want to thank the teachers at Roland, Mrs. Whitton and all, who did a tremendous job. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part. I'm going to read one poem and get out your way. This is called I Know You Too, and I dedicate it to all the youth that are here. It says, a fierce force wind of achievement and honor, a steel rod in the center of police dogs and fire hoses, unmoved. Academic excellence achieved in poorly rated schools, a measure of pride, patience, and persistence overflowing from the inside, unseen and unspoken, but on full display. You are the aftermath of a dream determined not to be deferred. You are the highest note in an operatic oratory that brings the crowd to its feet. You are the reaffirmation of our linkage with our ancestors who live again through you, with you, because of you. You are an answered prayer. You are the libation poured for the dead who walk among us, giving them hope even though they sleep. You are the sound of Harriet Tubman, I can, send me, I will. You are the feet of Martin, ain't gonna let nobody turn you around. You are the strength of Malcolm, by enemies necessary, you shall be free. I know you. Iron smelting, basket weaving, pyramid building, traveler of the universe. From dungeons and barracoons you rose. From caravans of captivity you sprang. From hot fields and cold landscapes you emerged. Branded as a beast of burden and wrapped in the spirit of death you flourished. You are the striving, driving essence of our ancestors' dreams. You are the definition of the forward flow of human history. You are the maintaining fiber of collective work and responsibility. You are the reflection of our economic reality when we build and profit together. You are the purpose of all that we do in spite of all that we have gone through just to survive. You are the reminder of our creative beauty that we inherited from the rocks on which we stand. You give us faith in the righteousness and victory of all human struggle. I know you. You are the first hand up when the question is asked. You are the late night reader of the next day exam, leaving nothing to chance. You are the reason that we are here in this place at this time, as blessed as we are. Yes, I know you. I'm trying to be you. Thank you.
We are beginning with Roland Academy, and we have our first reader, Marie.
The bird was soaring in the cloudy sky. He felt as happy as I felt when my baby brother was born, and I cried for joy. I reached in and touched the cute little squirmy, slimy fish. I was afraid. It was like when I swam to the deep end of the pool. The day on Susquehanna felt grateful, like the fish are grateful to the river for providing them a home.
Down in Harrisburg, along the Susquehanna River, with a lesson so glamorous, colossal rivers under a crinkled bridge, hazy in my mind, closing my eyes. Walking on clouds, pale and puffy, motionless and misty, time to come to reality. Murky clouds, screeching cars, start to rain with a rumble and shake. Inside a church with my peers, getting taught by a poet who's very dear.
Alondra couldn't be here today, but I wanted to share her poem with you because when I read it, it was truly the essence of her spirit. She loves to sing. Susquehanna River. Oh dear river, I see you. Every day is like a song through my head that goes on and on. That can never stop. It wakes me up when I'm at rest, or if I'm down. It is like a song I love so much. Sometimes when I sing, the words flow out of my mouth like the Susquehanna River.
This is in Caillou Mays' absence. It's untitled. The river, like a turtle, like a waterfall, it goes fast, it goes slow. Why won't the river just set up camp? You use me for travel. You use me for a cold drink. Don't block my path, because one day I will be gone. The birds need a place to fish. The fish need a place to live. Please think about the animals that need me. Don't block my path, because one day I will be gone. For us, for you, for water, we need you. When the clouds grow dark and water starts to fall, you call it rain. I call it little me. It comes from a lake, it comes from a sea, and from me, the river. Don't block my path, because one day we all will be gone. Think about the animals that need me. Don't block my path, because one day I will be gone.
The river was dark, deep and wide. The children were loud and noisy, but the sound of the river was silent. The cool bird soaring through the sky with a sharp eye on a cute little fish. So then the river flows on and on and on.
The river is deep and long. It makes me smile. It pairs to wave at me when I walk by. I see a flowing river from the bridge. It It makes me feel like I'm on edge. I see a flowing river. It makes me feel like I'm riding a bike. The river is my dream. I want everybody to see. Then we could all go jet ski. The river is my dream.
The river is dark, deep, and fancy. Come and dance along. When it's finished, it goes to sleep. It snores along and shivers in its sleep. Come along as the light bounces off, as it shimmers along.
Leaves. Have you ever heard of leaves? Well, they don't have fleas. Leaves are wispy, crispy, and wide. They are shallow and weird, but they don't have a beard. They are long and light, but never a fright. That reddish color so spotless. They are dull and shaped like a ball, but they're never hurtful because they are fearful. But one day there's a storm, and all the leaves, wispy, curly, and crispy, fell down the Susquehanna River for a joyride.
The sky is high like the birds in the sky. Deep down in the underground, the way the children fly like the sky. Oh, the way the river sounds, it's like a cry in the sky. The way it makes me sigh on the other side, the way the river sounds in my eyes. The way the strong wind blows against the wavy sweet waters, my place to think and have peace. The river is graceful and life-giving. The river whispers gently in my ear.
9 years old in Nepal. Every day I go to school in camp. Sometimes I learn in Nepali. Sometimes I learn in English. I try to learn, but my mind won't let me. Why would I need Nepali? Someday my family will come to America to start a new life. 16 years old in America. I have started my new life. I don't even know how to write my own name in my mother tongue.
Good afternoon. My mother. I love my mother because she is a very good woman. She helps everyone and is very welcoming. I never felt to hate one she make me. She helped me with her love. She is very generous because she helps everyone. My mother cooks very nice food for all of our family. I love to see my mother happy because she is the bring sun in my life. Thank you.
My dear Grandpa, my dear Grandpa, I miss you so. I remember you with my whole soul. I want to see you once more. You were such a helpful and friendly man. You worked so hard to make us happy. I miss your eyes. When you look at me, I felt your love, your care. I still remember how we walked to school. You held my hand with tenderness. I still remember how you taught me, how you care about me. I still remember how you were waiting for me every summer. You sat on a chair near an old tree, looking down the path, waiting. I still remember how you were working every morning with the sunlight. You went to the field to water the flowers. My dear Grandpa, do you know how those flowers miss you? Those flowers miss you like I miss you. They miss your care. People have told me that every human, when their time comes, must leave sweet home and the people who they love and become the bright star in the sky. I know that is the rule of life, but it's hard without you. I know you're the bright star which glitters for me every night. I miss you so, my dear Grandpa. I just want to hug you once more and say I love you. My dear Grandpa, you're far away, but promise to be with me. Just light my way from the sky. Just light my way in this deceptive life.
Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna tell you about my poem. The topics of my poem is "Won't You Love Me." Let me intro through my topic. "Won't you love me?" Every day I used to think, who am I? I used to look at my face in the mirror and ask myself, who am I? Later on, I come to know that I am the property of God, who has filled me with His wonderful life and His wonderful love. I used to sin every day. I used to think I was perfect. I used to think I was controlling my life. It won't perish, it might. But it was wrong. I have to die one day. I can't sleep whole night. In that unsleepy night, He comes to fill me with His wonderful love. He comes to take all my sorrows. I can't love Him, but He loves me. I can't choose Him, but He chooses me. And I want to live for you. I'm going to deliver a next poem also, and the topic of my poem is my country. When I wrote this poem, I was missing my country too. Let me intro through this topic. My country. My country is across the mountain. I'm from Nepal. The land full of beauty which captures the heart, with green landscapes, hills and colors of mud. The birds are humming in the forest like a slam which give me a rest. The flowing water from the mountains really gives peace in my heart. My country is the gift of God. My country is that place which I love. People used to bear the stream of sorrow together. Thank you.
Yeah, I also wanted to thank Tasha and everybody at Messiah for this wonderful project. I've had the pleasure of working with students from the Harrisburg City Schools before, and every time I find the same thing. I find a lot of talent, a lot of people with a lot of talent, and I hope we can continue. The poem, one of the poems I used when I was working with the students in the ESL class was a poem that I wrote for my grandfather. And one of the things I do with young poets is I ask them to write poems about people that they care about, people that they love. And I wrote this one for my grandfather, my Puerto Rican grandfather, Juan T. Morales. And the title of the poem is the name for grandfather. So this is Abuelo. There is a tree growing from Abuelo's guitar, a flamboyant with vines curling around the neck, and its blood-red flowers fall into his song that sounds like a river and smiles like the moon. Abuelo is bronze, red-brown, white hair, eyes full of comets. He's slicing a pineapple with a big knife, and he's singing as he sings half of the day, every day. Everything in that kitchen is smiling at me. If he's not singing, Abuelo is humming while he reads, while he works, any old time. He drives curvy mountain roads singing with one hand on the wheel, the other leaning on the window, as on that Mambo afternoon. We drove up to the entrance of his little neighborhood. He slows down, puts a finger to his lips, smiles, puts on his glasses. We slowly glide up the driveway with Abuela standing and very carefully watching, looking at those glasses. Abuelo speaks and the words turn into hummingbirds. The force of his rage flashes like lightning and is gone. No signs of the anger, no scorched ground, no split trees, no signs of working hard from age 9 to his final years. 60 years of work, and he attempts to retire twice. Getting it right the second time while making all of us nervous, since he hardly slowed down. The diabetes. The diabetes ordered him to stop drinking, and he did most of the time. Occasionally charming a little whiskey out of adoring grandchildren and old friends who could hardly say no to the sweet old Taino, Jíbaro, man of the soil. Oiga mi negro. It was that sweetness that infected your blood and made you too nice for this world. Oígame, abuelo, I hear your voice singing some days out of nowhere, and I pray there is another world so I can see you there. Thank you.
Okay, so now we will begin with, thank you, Rick. We will begin with Marshall, and then we'll have some more readings at the end, so stay tuned.
Broad Street Market by Zaire Crowder. When I walked into the market, it was so new to me, especially when I smelled the sweet smell of candy. I walked over to buy some, but then I heard the sweet sound of jazz music, which was as calming as a bird. While tapping my foot, I heard someone say, "All of you come try this without a delay." It was a cinnamon pretzel, nice and sweet. It was just as if it was meant for me. But then it was time to go. So I guess there's just some things I'll just never know.
Free by Zamira Wilson. Freedom is not free, so use it wisely. Freedom is when you can walk down the market, seeing and experiencing new things. Rhythm is food for your soul, not your ego. Rhythm is what you can hear and feel your heart. Enjoyment is wonderful, something you can have happiness over, like enjoying the smell of greasy, crispy chicken, the taste of the juicy crunch when you bite into the golden brown, lumpy skin, enjoying the life of humans.
I'm just going to add that some of these poems were based on a visit to Broad Street Market and Midtown Scholar, and the students were asked to imagine that they were aliens visiting the market, and what would they experience. So you will understand the poems better with that idea.
New Places by Heather Rojas. When I walked in, I smelled the sweet smell of new faces, but I just wanted to talk and meet them, but I was too afraid. I went to see something weird and different. They called it sweet potatoes with marshmallow on top. I just wanted to taste them. Then one of the persons who worked there said to me, "You want to try?" When I tasted it, it tasted kind of squishy and kind of hard to bite. Then I walked out. It was the best experience I ever had at the Broad Street Market.
Colors by Marquise McMillan. They say the 7 wonders of the world are rocks and stones, but the real 7 wonders are the ones we know in our color zones. Many colors, some orange, some blue, you see every day, all around you. A lot of other colors, like black and white, that everyone on earth has in their sight. Most of nature is the color green. It is also the color of our MSA team. Yellow is the color of the blazing hot sun that warms us on a summer day fun. Purple is the color of so many moods. Eggplant, beets, and carrots are some of the new foods. Lavender comes in so many forms. The wonderful aroma brings peace during a storm. Red is the color that we all bleed, and also the color of the heart that we need. Rich, dark, vibrant, and alive. This is most important to survive.
We Are All the Same by Sinead Green. Okay. I chose to write this poem because today in society, people are bullied for over the way that they look, the way that they dress, and what they do with themselves. So, hope you like it. I see so many different races and faces, then I think, aren't we all the same? Lots of different hair, skin, and eye colors. I think again, aren't we all the same? more hair and fashion styles, even more different feelings and traits, but we are all the same? People bullying others over the way they look, all they need to know is we are all the same.
My poem is called Harrisburg by James Murray. Harrisburg is cool, Harrisburg is great. Harrisburg is a city that has amazing grace. Part of the first state discovered, it was discovered by William Penn. It sits next to its brother, Philadelphia, that holds our country's Liberty Bell. Harrisburg is rough, tough, true to the core. It was a battleground in our Liberty War. This place has been burned and bruised, but still stands true. This place's name will never be forgotten. This city is called Harrisburg.
A World of Color by Sinai Wallace. Color is the best thing about our world. It paints and decorates everything on earth. Without color, everything will be bland. It's like having a music without a band or a beach without sand. It would just be plain boring. But color, you see, is amazing. Most people take it for granted. To look through our eyes and experience a valuable prize is extraordinary. If we look at our world just a little bit closer, you'll be able to actually live in our world of color.
Unique was the word that describes a place. The cool place where mysterious people laughed and socialized, of all kinds of delightful and colorful foods that laid on tables being savored. The foods tasted different, as if they were all from their own alien worlds. These words described a multifaceted combination of unique foods and a true place of harmony. My first time at the Midtown Scholar by Emil Peno. The Midtown Scholar, a place filled with many books, flipping pages just to get further, deeper with the information or plot. With classical music playing soft, steady, and jazzy beat calming me, with 300,000 different titles that take me back in time, filling up my oversized intellectual brain. There's a cafe with delicious pastries and sweet-smelling cappuccinos, filling up my green belly. Poets and students sharing their work with emotional and touching poems like eyes staring into the soul. I may be new to this world as an alien, but at least I had a good time at the Midtown Scholar.
Individual Souls by Tiana Jennings. We all have individual souls that make us unique. Being individual gives us the freedom to be different. Being different is lame, someone told me. We should all be appreciated for how different and individual we are. Being different is what takes us so far in life. You should not be picked on because you are being yourself. You don't have to act like someone else to fit in. You act like yourself to fit in. People were not always allowed to be themselves. At one point in time, you had to do what you were told when you were told to do it by someone you didn't know. I am referring to slavery times. African Americans didn't have the freedom to be individual. They never had the right to be themselves. They were controlled by people they never met. So today we have the chance to be ourselves. Never let anyone tell you that you are weird or that you are not just like them. You know you are different in a good way. We all have individual souls. Nobody is exactly the same. That's how we were made. We were made to be individual and unique. That is why we are all so special.
The Broad Street Market by Anisha Lopez. I landed on Earth, and the first thing I see is a large house with flat openings that spit people out and accept people in, with thousands of different faces and colors. That's what I was worried about. I didn't look like them. I didn't fit in. I was green, had purple spots and 25 toes. But I sucked it up and thought I wasn't going to feel like a missing piece of a puzzle. I was going to be like everybody else. If anything, I appreciated my green scaled skin. So I walked in the big house like a boss. Instantly, I smelled something that was so alluring, it just kept me looking. When I followed the smell, I happened to come across a lady with a fishnet above her head, waving what seemed to be like a stick covered in black, nasty honey. But I tasted it anyway. At first, it tasted like creamy, silky, melt-in-your-mouth goodness. Later on, it tasted fatty, sizzling, and rubbery like the back of a tire. I immediately asked this lady what this intriguing animal was. She said, "Sweetie, this is chocolate-covered bacon." My life was never been the same.
School by Ayanna Smith. School is where most kids go. They learn things they didn't know. There's middle school that goes from 5th to 8th. I'm in middle school and I think that's great. Kids carry things that they need on their back. They may also carry their lunch that they packed. They carry their pencils and folders in their bag. They make sure they have it so they don't get nagged. In the halls at my school, you can see family history. The teachers are always saying they look rather lovely. In the classrooms, you would see kids learning, writing down notes, their pencils burning. In the cafeteria, you would see kids eating lunch. For some kids, it might even be brunch. For specials, we have music and PE. We also have art and technology. At school, you might have some ups and downs, but if you do, please don't make a frown. School is the best thing for you, and once you graduate, you'll think that too.
Being You is Beautiful by Neray Whittington. Being you is beautiful, be proud of your race. No need to put makeup on your face. Being you is beautiful, embrace your inner self. Being you is beautiful, don't listen to anyone else. Being you is beautiful, it will never fail. You don't need fake nails. Being you is beautiful, don't be shy. Be you until you die.
Now we invite Ms. Heisey and Ms. Cox to share their poems.
Sense and Senses by Simone Heisey. Aimlessly I enter the shelter of a 150-year-old meeting place, sniffing warm yeast of the bread which has risen and is anxious to be devoured. The shot of warm air comforts me. I reminisce of being held by my mother as a small child. As I stroll, my senses sing to the roasted coffee beans, to the scent of my espresso, and my tongue smiles when I sip the frothy milk. Shades of brown and varied textures, buttery yellow tahini, golden cider and bumpy kebabs, airy tan cracklins, powdery taupe cocoa, all lined up, side by side, ready to serve or be served, like soldiers in the army. The order and the disorder at the market is a feast.
This I Believe by Leanne Cox, inspired by the works of Edward Morrow, Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou, Jack McGovern, and all the great poets. I believe that it is hard to grow up and that for some of our children it is getting harder. I believe that our children need to learn that smart is not something you are, but something you can become. I believe that we should show our children what tolerance looks like. I believe that the best schools are places where, in the words of C.S. Lewis, a student can be surprised by joy. I believe that students must be both able and passionate learners, and that the current fetish for assessment can extinguish interest and kill curiosity. I believe that we need poetry and deserve poetry every day and twice on Sunday. I believe that school libraries and public libraries open students' minds to places and things outside of their current reality. I believe that language is sacred and that every child should be served an extra large portion of Uncle Remus, E.B. White, Mark Twain, Theodore Geisel, Shakespeare, Maya Angelou, and Langston Hughes. I believe that children need art and music the way that plants need water and sunlight. I believe that the nation's greatness lies not only in the sacrifices made by our men and women in the military, but also in the quality of its nursery schools and nursing homes. I believe that if their life at home is hell, then school should be like heaven. And if their home life is heaven, they should share that gift with others. And finally, I believe that teachers make a difference. They always have, and they always will, and that they should never be afraid of doing something good.
You all are doing so
when Jean was explaining to the students at the Math and Science Academy what exactly a poet laureate is, she said, well, they tell them to write poems about anything, and then they have to do it. And I said, ooh, I never really thought about it like that, but I don't know if you should be telling them that. And she said, oh, no. In fact, wouldn't it be so much fun if we had every one of these students write down a word, and you just put all of them into the same poem? I thought, oh, absolutely. And then she said, well, wouldn't it be even better if you did that right here and right now, just to show them that you could do it? But, you know, since I was about 6 years old, you couldn't dare me. That's how that whole bottle of hot sauce went down for a $20 bill when I was 8 years old. I have never forgiven myself. However, this was a wonderful challenge. Where's all my Marshall? Where's my Marshalls? You all did so good. Woo! So this poem is about 40 students. Each gave me a word. And all 40 of their words are in this piece. So you can see if you can tap out which ones probably came from an excited 6th grader who just made me want to work for it. Right. To walk. To walk in a market with children is to be thankful for chocolate-smothered fingertips. To find perfect the juicy, crisp crunch of late fall apples colliding in colors of laughing reds and peaceful olives. Touching with gentle respect the final blossoms of winter flowers. To light a candle in these last twilight hours of delightful autumn. To roam, imagination free across word-riddled book pages is to love fantastic, remarkable life. To face with faith the athletic race of kids who may wake up every other day to routine. In this moment, we are adventuring. Today, just for today, we will rise up to caring, to fabulous peace, the celebration of our unique poetic power. If our creative expression is in the arcing rotation of a midair basketball or a football curving straight into desireful hands, today, just for today, we will be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Hello everybody, I'm Dustin. So I just want to say, Marshall, I'm really impressed with you guys' work. That was fantastic. Everybody was fantastic. But I'm honored to be here, and I was honored to be a part of poetry in place. So I'm going to share a piece with you guys. I'm going to actually get a little personal. I wrote a book called The Tower, and it's dedicated to my friend who passed away. And I feel that it's important to share because we, as people, can overcome obstacles and challenges through writing, and we can express ourselves in that writing and heal once we get it on the page. So this is a piece for me that was kind of a healing piece, if you will, and it took me 3 years to finally face it. So this is Jeremy David. This is the last poem in my book. I know we were close. Excuse me. Day. Here we are together. In our last room, we remember. And soon we will depart, I to your wake, and you to your tomb. But we shall carry you every step of the way, my friend, and you just rest. We will hold the rails in heavy lifting. We will compose for exactly 46 steps with our insides twisting and our necks bent low to hide our drenched faces washing down our chests. And yet, your casket called everyone and stole our breath. When we got to the hearse, I heard them all whisper, not yet, not now. 1, 2, 3, lift. We took our time. 21 years are in the back of this black silhouette, and we have been filling it with the tears of time and their regrets, but we shall carry it every step of the way, my friend. And yes, they will bury it, but they will never bury you, as no 6 feet of earth can ever smother the first friend I had beyond worth. You were always there for me when I ran from everything, as my friends have always been my family. Night, a few bottles in battle, and I found myself kneeling in topsoil and backfill, soaking wet, but rain wasn't falling from skies, but behind sockets, holding back swollen eyes, the roaring wails of morning cast into the night. No, not like this, cursing dirt for holding truth. No, and I know it's no use, but I was strong all day, so please excuse my collapse, as I am the repercussion of reliving my relapse. I cut down every surrounding stone with my words and filled my hands with your dirt. This can't be happening. This can't be the way this ends. Every spirit was entitled but silent. No, God, please, don't take one of the few who still believe in me, who lifted me. Don't make me swear to be something. Don't make me live for both of us. Don't make me, I'm scared to write myself out of this graveyard with these wretched stones and this pocket of earth swallowing my soul. Yes, the roses. I will always bring the roses. On the second day of the second week of every month for 2 years solid, I will stand there rocking, nodding, asking, are you there, Jer? And when the wind picks up as though knocking, I will just stare, as I am beyond repair, lost in the mud of my despair, as no preparation could prepare the unaware. I will carry you, my friend, in my head and heart stem, in the power lines I write and bend. I will pour us out in rivers of ink and shiver the spines of those who drink it. They will know the truth, that the day your obituary stood proof upon arrival was the day I made my dictionary my Bible, that the flame of my fire is blue in hue, that the only way to explain is to prove that no one became someone of use. See, I'm not writing with one pen, I'm writing with two. One is mine and one is you. That holding this cold earth until sunrise gave birth to a poet as the old demised, emerging from the cemetery, covered in your dirt, as though I crawled from the ground with my desires, my Bible, and my work. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
All I can say is thank you. Wow, you all are incredible. The children, the teachers, the poet laureates, this community, wow. I thank God for your presence. I thank God for your brilliance and for your courage to speak your truth. Words are powerful. Oh, God. Words can heal you and uplift you, can save marriages and families, and used negatively, words can crush you. I thank you for your courage to stand up here and share your words. I'm a little overwhelmed by the magnitude of your brilliance. It inspires me to keep keeping on. Wow, you all incredible. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be here and witness this and share this with my family. I will call California, North Carolina, New York City, where my family are waiting on me to come back and stand among the blazing sun of Puerto Rico. Thank you. Anyway, I'm going to share a poem that was written by my aunt called Still I Rise. I'm telling you, before I go into Still I Rise, when Dr. Corey asked me to come here, and I thought about the awesome responsibility of saying one word, 2 words, maybe one, that would inspire someone to keep on keeping on. I was in tears for 2 days because it's a real awesome responsibility. I do not take this lightly. Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like air, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why do you, I'm sorry. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like stars, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders hanging down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness upset you? Don't you take it awfully hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Don't you take it awfully hard. Don't take it as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. From a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide, leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And thinking again about your children, these young people, you are the dream, you are the hope of our ancestors. You are the reason why they struggled so. Keep up the good work. Don't let anything turn you around. And when you see something that's wrong or a bully among your midst, gather your friends and call them on that mistake of being. It's an awesome responsibility to be a human being in these times. But you have it within you. You've already been paid for. So keep standing, keep pressing forward. We're looking at you, and we're supporting you, and we encourage you and love you. And above all else, God loves you. Thank you.
Poets, you were amazing. Thank you so much. You really were so great. It's so fun to think about you with those notepads, walking across the river in the market, with the notepads, listening to Ann Yellett tell her stories, and seeing the poems that came from that. And clearly you wrote your notes, you wrote your poems, but you revised and you practiced and you presented, and it was just very powerful. Thank you so much. Thanks for being part of our first ever Poetry in Place celebration of poetry.